Welcome to Factorio Krastorissimo weekly recap. My name is Nilas, so this is episode 8. That means the weekly update number 8 of our Twitch stream. So for anyone who does not know, this is a summary of what has been going on in the last week over on Twitch. So that was the Christmas week, so there's a fair chance that you might have missed it. And yeah, for anyone who does not know, I'm streaming live on Twitch. It's at twitch.tv/Nilas, and I'm streaming on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. That is where I play Factorio at 8 p.m. Central European Time. I'm also streaming the other nights. Then it's some other games. So do come on by and check it out, or at least just say hi. It's always nice to see new people there, or old people. I don't know. So what we have now, we have at the end of the previous week was the unlocking of matter science. Matter science gets a few things here. It opens up new tech, and because it opens up new tech, we are going to, well, our entire operation for science production is switching online. And as that happens, we are going to start running out of more advanced stuff. Like in this case, you could see blue circuits, immersite crystals, productivity modules, and red circuits. We will run out of even more things as we start working on this. Some of the key parts here, as soon as we unlock the matter tech, we're going to unlock this horrible item. This one takes 3 lithium sulfur batteries, 9 electronic components, 6 low density structures, and 3 immersite crystals, and that's for a single one. And it just gets worse from there, because we have to get in some matter processing. You can see something like this one actually takes 3 of those energy controllers. So as you reach this level, your consumption of, for example, low density structures is absolutely skyrocketing. It's going to absurd levels, and you will just not be able to keep up. But the good thing is that with matter, then you can start converting every item into matter, and then converting matter into every other basic item. So it actually is, it's a pretty cool way of doing it and making something new in the end game. It does take an immense amount of power. So this is basically what we're going to work on in this week that I'm summarizing here. Is the transition to start utilizing more matter science and actually start building that. So the first things we are going to have to build is actually building the energy control units, but also, let's see, the other part of it is here, building that immersion processing, which takes a lot of immersite powder and rare metals and then combine it into some new crafting materials. These crafting materials are used exclusively for the construction of the vehicles. Well, actually also for some science, but we're not there yet. But that's those things are needed for us to build the machines that we need in order to unlock the matter. So let's jump forward after the first stream of the week. I missed one stream because, well, New Year's. So it's going to be 2 streams this week that we're summarizing, but still lots of progress. Let's take a look. So here we are. This is at the end of the next stream. And basically, some of the things that we talked about, that the immersion plates, that's the first thing we want to do, and that's a new Vitu building here coming in, taking care of this one. And what it does is basically, you can also see that power on this one. Okay, never mind. There you go. Power was not great, but it is great now. Taking things in from each side here, getting merged up here, and just have some good module beacon builds. All of our builds will be heavily moduled, heavily beacon from now on, because we should have enough power with the fusion power to actually feed it. So this one will be making, and I also have a new mod. That's not it. Come on. No, I guess not. Right, it does. It's because it doesn't work. It's not on this one. 36 of these per second, and I think that's actually enough. What we're using this for is bringing it back to our hub and using it to build some of these facilities here. Actually, we're using it to build the immersion beams, and the immersion beams are used here for plant matter assemblers and the charts. So the matter plant is converting things into matter. The matter assembler is taking matter and assembling it to real items. And the stabilizer here, no, the charging station is for the matter chargers that we are going to use in order for some of the more advanced matter researches or matter recipes. I'm just explaining it, showing it here. That's the easiest way. So you can see that anything here can be converted into matter, matter being a liquid, and depending on how much, you're always taking 10 in per second, so that's nice, but how much you get out, it depends on how much. Well, okay, liquids are 100. Depends on the quality. So for example, copper ore gets 5, wood only gets 2, uranium gets 8, uranium 238 can also be converted, gives 47, so that's a pretty nice one. If we wanted to like convert to the raw here, then we get 10 for 10, and so that depends, basically means that wherever you are in the map, and if you have some resource you have too much of, then you can put it in here. And then on the other side, the assemblers, that's where we put it back together. And if I put it, for example, if I take copper, if I convert 10 copper to 5 matter, then I can also convert 5 matter into 10 copper. But there's no such thing as productivity here. So I don't lose anything by converting to matter, but I also, on the other hand, well, I lose power, but on the other hand, I don't gain any productivity either. So if, for example, if I skip a level and just go from ore directly into plate, then I'm actually going to lose quite a bit. So that's not really a valuable way to do this. What is valuable is the complex process. Some things that take several steps, for example, sulfur comes from petroleum and water, and petroleum has to come from oil, and that oil comes from the cracking, and so it's a big setup that's kind of complicated and annoying, and maybe it's easier just to say, all right, for the sulfur I need, just convert it. Likewise, I would say with plastic, just convert it. You might lose some in the sense that you're not getting all of the productivity gains through the oil process, but if you have some abundant materials, it doesn't really matter because you can just convert it. And so plastic and copper are good candidates. Silicon is also, because silicon comes from stone to sand, sand to quartz, quartz to silicon. So you can step over a lot of steps and go straight for what you need. I would not really use it for anything like copper ore because, well, you should be having that. But the one thing that's interesting is for some of the basic recipes, it's just directly, but like matter to copper. But for some of the more advanced ones, you take matter to copper, but you are also going to use 1% of a charged matter stabilizer. So let's take a look at this charged matter stabilizer and the whole stabilization process. The stabilization process is requiring a single item, and we're going to go to take a look at that item. We have St. Cabbage taking care of that for us wherever he is. Here he is. This is a pretty crazy build we built, and I want a lot of this. I want these because they are taking forever to build, like 10 seconds, taking forever to build. Except the problem with this one is that as I look at the throughput, good luck getting 120 low density structures per second inbound. I'm just pretending that I have it, but you can see the result is that I do not have it. So initially we made some of these, and well, we do have some, and that's a tiny bit. They will all be converted, or they will all be used as part of the conversion process. The conversion process is going up here, and we reallocated Cerulean, who was up here and was just doing a very basic steam engine, but we converted it here. So this one is making these. They're kind of canisters, and they will. They're used canisters for the matter stabilizer. So here we have the matter stabilizer. You can see that it takes both immersion plate, the new item, and the energy control, the new and very expensive item. So this is a crazy expensive item. Luckily, as we charted, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And when it comes in, it goes out here and becomes available to the network. So we have a lot of these available to the network to be sent in wherever needed, and 99% of all of these will come back again, which means that yes, you need a lot of investment in it. It's a fixed cost. You need an investment one time to get all of the charged units you need in your network so that they start floating around, and then continuously you'll lose 1%, which isn't much, but it's still something. So here we see that this is getting started. I will need to work this one faster. And even a 1% loss is actually quite significant in a lot of cases, because it's 1% of a very expensive item, and I'm consuming them in, well, 20 per second maybe sometimes, and then it likes to be one every 5 seconds you lose it, and that means you have to renew one every 5 seconds, and that's actually quite expensive. So we'll see how this works when we start really utilizing it. Other things that we have done, there is one more thing, and that's actually the sulfur batteries. because we needed the sulfur batteries. Otherwise, we couldn't build the energy storage unit. If you have Skippy is taking care of these lithium sulfur batteries. They're actually pretty simple. 1 copper, that's cheap. 1 lithium, that's okay. And some sulfuric acid. Okay, done. Get those. Nice little build. Very straightforward. Ins and outs. And we are then going to build it, making it available to the network. It's going to be used for a few things, but not overly much. The last thing we should take a look at is actually when it comes to an actual matter conversion, because right now we've been focusing on getting the matter stabilizers so that we can convert matter back into some good items, but we don't even have matter created yet. So what I did down here is we have this nice coal location, but we also have another coal location that I don't really imagine that we need. We don't use coal liquefaction. We don't use a lot of coal actually. The only thing we'd use coal for, like in vast quantities, is actually plastic, and we actually want to make plastic through matter. So if I just convert all of this here into coal, get the coal into matter plant, and then let's see how that works. So this is a matter plant where I make matter in large quantities. I have 30,000 stacked up here in each, so that's 60,000. On the other side, outside, I have 20,000 times 2, so that I have 100,000 matter stored up right now. And what you can see is here, this is converting each one of these. Look at the speed here. It's consuming 45 per second, and they are taking a stupid amount of power, but that's why I've just been filling it all up with efficiency modules. So with efficiency modules on everything like this, we're down to this one taking 58 megawatts, which isn't very much. I could make 2 buildings instead, and then it would probably take maybe like 400 or 500 megawatts, because I just wouldn't be able to saturate it. I would have to throw more speed modules in. So this one is something where you really want to put in a lot of efficiency modules, because otherwise it just scales way out of control. The default for one of these is only 1 megawatt for this. Oh, this one is, so this was default 50 megawatt, and this one's default 20 megawatts. So when you have something that starts out as 20 megawatt at 25 or 50 megawatt, then it scales pretty quickly. So this one gives us some matter into our network, and what we can do with it from here is going to be what we do in the next episode. So that now we have the charged matter stabilizers. We have the ingredients to make stabilizers. That's the energy storage unit, the immersion plates, and the sulfur lithium batteries. So we can make all those things, and we are making them. And we now also have the matter there. So what we have now is ready to start unleashing the matter technology by actually converting anything into matter or matter into anything. And that's kind of what we're going to do in the next episode, start using that. What we're also seeing is, not surprisingly, we're running seriously out of low density structures. As we scale up low density structure consumption, or sort of production, we'll start running out of copper and all that good stuff. So definitely we, with matter, we just to get the matter tech up and running, we need so many resources. So that's a cool transition into the late game of this build, or this mod pack. Let's have a look and jump forward and see what's up in the second stream of the week. So here we are, the last stream of the week, the second and last stream of the week, and what we are doing in this episode is trying to combat the shortage that we encountered because we wanted to transition into matter tech. And that means low density structures. It means stuff like immersion crystals, and also plastic as part of the support that we needed for the low density structures. And copper is also a big issue, but not something we actually done something with now. No, actually that's not true. We did build a new copper location, didn't we? Nope, that's the original. 1, 2 copper locations. That's all we have at this point. We definitely need more copper location, and that is something we have to build. It does surprise me, because I kind of felt that we did a copper location, and now I'm just going to completely at a loss if that's the case. Ah, we did build it up here. Yeah. So that is brilliant. This is a matter to copper location. We'll come up and take a look at it in just a bit. First things first, though, we were running seriously out of low density structures. So here we have another build of low density structures. It's a pretty nice build, I think. It uses the standard belt weaving trick here, which is now by now standard. And But the thing is, it produces 24 of these, so I would need 5 of these facilities just to fuel the energy storage in real time, which is absolutely insane. But it also now strains. It doesn't really strain the steel. That should be fine. But it strains the copper, and it strains also to a certain extent the plastic. Plastic is something that I absolutely want to use as well. So we want to just go down here for the plastic. Let's run to the plastic and then have a look at how this is built. So on the plastic, just to explain that, the plastic is one of those more advanced recipes, and therefore it will take the matter stabilizers. This is the first one we built, and also the first one that kind of makes sense here. It does take a bit of time to get down there, but that's because it's a new facility. The reason why we built it down here is actually because of another facility. We got some copper here, which was nice, and down here at this one, we're simply making another location. In this case, also converting into more matter. We now have 50,000 here. Nothing is being consumed, and this one takes the mineral water. Not very efficient way, but mineral water is complete junk, so why not just convert it into something useful? Here we have our plastic facility, and this is also, I'm really liking this one, maybe except for the belting inbound, so because I forgot that. This one is producing, let's look at it, it's producing 180 plastic per second. That is pretty damn nice, and as these are spinning, they will consume. Oh, that's another part of it that's really interesting. It's also consumes 18 charge matter stabilizers per second, and you know, it's actually going to lose. That means, let's call that 20, and that's as I said, so every 5 seconds it will actually lose one of these. That's kind of a lot. Let's say in this case every 6 seconds it'll lose one. That's something we have to account for, because that does add up. But this one, power-wise, it does take quite a bit of. No, it doesn't take any power, but that's because we've been completely overscaling it here with all these modules here, which I think is the right thing. You can see this one is working at 60%, at 40%. It has minus 60% power utilization, which is crazy. At the same time as having 4.5 speed, pretty nice. And we just jump back. So here we have another thing that we were running out of. Seriously, the reason why we were running out of this is, again, those damn energy storage units here take a lot of immersite crystals. So we started throwing around some low density structure builds, and now we need to do some immersite crystal builds. Lithium sulfur batteries should be fine, and this is a really, really nice build in my opinion. These are incredibly slow, so even all of this giant thing with lots of modules beacons, I'm only making a total of 13. Well, let's call it 14 and then be happy about it. And it doesn't take much, but it takes a significant amount of power, almost 200,000 or 200 megawatts of power, and it's kind of needed. I'm going to build more of these. There's no other way to build this until I get the best chemical plant, which I will get, and then this one will be easier. But you know, you got to get there, and that's the challenge right now, is getting there in a decent manner without sort of limping along. What we will see is, even with this one built, we have all the things that are missing from the alerts. You can see the rare metals. That's because I kind of been ignoring it. The immersite crystals, so this is missing. The immersite powder, because, well, this one is consuming quite a bit of powder. And then the charged matter stabilizers. The reason for the charged matter stabilizers is simply because we don't have enough built, and we don't build them fast enough. And we just jumped up here at the very top of the world. We are tapping a new, pretty nice iron facility and just putting it in here to storage, making it available to the network to make it into, and that's just a thing we've seen before. We're going to simply take iron and make it into matter, so we have matter available. I'm going to take the matter here into a special location used for copper. So basically what I'm doing is taking iron to copper. Yep, that's a thing. And these ones are available and can be done. So this is why we actually have enough copper here. If we take a look at this, yep, 180 copper per second can this one provide. So every time another one comes in here and picks up, sure, it just gets removed incredibly fast from, or replenished incredibly fast. And it is pretty far away, so perhaps, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I might need to do a buffer chest down there just to sort of make it available at a more reasonable location, so it can go into one of the new low density structures, but I also built 2 of those. So Vitio is also a new low density structure. So those are basically our challenges right now. Wow, that's interesting that coke is running out. Never seen coke running out since the beginning of the game. Interesting. Well, I think we should just stop using coke to say it like that. So what do we do now? What do we do here? The funny thing is there are actually still 2 tech levels left. If I look at the map or the copy here, I actually still don't have the advanced tech cards, which is what we're going to start working on now. But we have all the sub ingredients, the electric engines, the immersion gear wheels, the lithium sulfur batteries, and of course the blank tech cards. We have all of those, so we can build it. I just didn't want to build it when everything else was just limping along. What happens with this is it unlocks an incredible amount of new machines, something like this, a giant assembling machine that runs at a silly speed of 5. It doesn't seem like much, but when you go from speed 1.25 to speed 5, that's a pretty sizable increase. Likewise, we also have a furnace. This is speed 12, and a chemical plant that is speed 8. So those can get absolutely insane numbers, and we are going to dig into that as the next part. From there on, there's one more research, and that's the singularity, which use AI cores. We got those. Charge matter stabilizers. We are getting some of those. We don't get enough, but we can keep building these, and then blank tech cards. Then it unlocks the singularity, and from there on, we can do some cool things, like, for example, a better armor. Yay! But also like an antimatter reactor, which we can then make a portable antimatter reactor, and you can do some really cool things. But also this one, which is the intergalactic transceiver. And when you look at it from this distance, this is an eye. This is not a planet with rings around it. It is obviously an eye, the Eye of Horus, or the Eye of Cthulhu, or some other transdimensional monster that comes in. Yeah, it's probably some Cthulhu monster that's peeking out from the other side. And when you get this is basically the win condition when you do this and charge it. Charging process is interrupted. The accumulated energy will be dispersed fast. So it needs to be fully charged and then activated, and then that's the win condition. So we're edging towards the win condition, but I'm not going to rush it because there are so many cool things to do in the late game as well. Plus we have a number of buildings that we still need to fill out as well. But in a couple of weeks' time, I think we'll be wrapping this one up, and then I'll be starting working on the next series on Twitch. So if you want to join for some late game Krastorio and really cool design work, I hope at least that's what we aim for, then come on over to Twitch. I'm streaming this series on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. It's at twitch.tv/Nidaus. And if you can't make it those days, try one of the other days. I'm streaming every night, basically. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you either on Twitch, on Discord, here on YouTube, or maybe even on Twitter. See you around. Take care and stay effective.